incident took place.
Incidents of rape and forced marriages of women and girls during conflicts in Nigeria are common sights. Prominent among is the Leah Sharibu case since 2018 by the dreaded Boko Haram insurgents. Now the Wayamo Foundation is engaging judiciary correspondents on the fundamentals of the rule of law and transparency through objective and fact-based journalism about sexual predators and victims of gender-based violence.
Sexual violence refers to rape, sexual slavery, forced prostitution, forced pregnancy, forced abortion, enforced sterilization, forced marriage, and any other form of sexual violence of comparable gravity. Despite military gains against Boko Haram, women and girls remain exposed to the risk of sexual violence and other crimes. Androids managed to escape or were rescued, with many returning pregnant or with babies. The same thing we know that there has been a lot of kidnappings of women. Now, we can charge the incidents with these offenses. So it's also important to be creative, because in fact what we want is we want to make sure that these crimes are addressed and they are not silenced. So it is important to look at the law properly, and even if it's not called rape, we know that the Terrorism Prevention Act does have language that allows the prosecutors to actually charge this crime. If you go to Security Council 2331 of 2016, you will see that the Security Council urged all states to ensure that their domestic laws and regulations established serious criminal offenses sufficient to provide the ability to prosecute and penalize in a manner duly reflecting the seriousness of the offense of trafficking in persons committed with the purpose of supporting terrorist organizations or individual terrorists.
The foundation also plans to scale up its interface with international investigators and prosecutors to successfully combat transnational crimes.
First of all, it's to strengthen the capacity of the journalist to report with knowledge and responsibility about justice-related issues, from security challenges the country faces to the domestic prosecutions of alleged Boko Haram suspects and the International Criminal Court. So on the one hand side, it's to strengthen their knowledge, but it's also to stress the point how important it is to report accurately and be conscious about the responsibility we have as journalists when we report about sensitive issues. We all have responsibility, and I think another important point is always to stress that, we always, as a journalist, have to cover both sides. Every story has two sides, or even more sides. And so we are asking, if you prepare your story, talk to different people from government, from civil society. And this is also perhaps an appeal to all the actors in place. They also need to be ready to talk to the media. And, this is really to have expert journalists. So we want this network so that the journalists can claim we are experts in justice-related issues. I think we made the point the last time how important it is to be very accurate about justice processes. How long somebody is alleged to be this. So we as journalists need to know the expressions. We cannot claim that somebody has been convicted if he's still a suspect, and all these differences in the way the language must be used.
It's quite clear that most victims and survivors of sexual violence have not been able to get justice due to a number of factors that must be addressed if we must tackle the problem. And that basically has to do with the failure of state institutions to put in place structures that would fast-track the hearing and determination of cases of gender violence in our courts. Most of these cases get muddled up in courts, in the regular courts, where there are other criminal and civil cases. But the relevant laws we have, like the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, clearly stipulate that there should be there should be designated courts to try cases of rape and other sexual violence issues. But that is not the case in a few places, maybe Lagos and Ekiti State, where you have such designated cases. And that is why we have made appreciable progress in terms of tackling sexual violence. But largely, survivors of sexual violence have not been able to get justice in Nigeria. That is the reality. And until concrete steps are taken to designate courts, judges, to hear sexual and violence cases day to day, as even provided by the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, that such cases, criminal cases, are to be heard on a daily basis.
Ask yourselves this question. Do you know the Nigerian Penal Code relative to the issues that you want to address? Do you background your stories appropriately with references in law that will assist even me as an ordinary reader who's not a Nigerian to better understand what the limitations, challenges, prospects may be in this country?
The Complex Case Work Group of the Federal Ministry of Justice also made a presentation on the 1,000 case files of alleged Boko Haram insurgents currently under investigation, saying those indicted of crimes against humanity will soon be prosecuted.
And now let's move to other items. The Governing Council of the National Human Rights Commission has been confirmed by the Senate. And this has gone on after a number of processes, the nomination by the President, and then the screening by the Senate, and now the confirmation. So let's give you an idea of how the confirmation went at the plenary of the Senate.
I rise to move that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters on the confirmation of the nominations for appointment as chairman and members of the National Human Rights Commission of the following: Dr. Salamatu Hussaini Sulaiman, chairman; Mamel Joseph Onyemechi, member; Ahmad Abubakar Fingila Esquire, member; Kemi Okenyodo Ashiwaju, member; Abubakar Mohammed, member; Okewo Olufemi Adeniran, member; Mr. Sunday Etim Daniel, member; Juliani Agbaidu Chukwuemeka, member; Nella Andem Rabana, SAN, member; Azubuike Emmanuel Nwan Keita, member; Jamila Isa Esquire, member; and Idayat Omolara Hassan, member. Mr. President, I so move.
Confirmation. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Dr. Salamat Hussaini Sulaiman, FIMC, as chairman of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Dr. Salamat Hussaini Sulaiman, FIMC, is hereby confirmed as chairman of the National Human Rights Commission. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Mamel Joseph Onyemechi as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The confirmation of Mamel Joseph Onyemechi is hereby confirmed as a member of the National Human Rights Commission. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Ahmad Abubakar Fingila, Esquire, as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Ahmad Abubakar Fingila, Esquire, is hereby confirmed as a member of the National Human Rights Commission. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Okeo Olufemi Adeniran as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Okeo Olufemi Adeniran is hereby confirmed as a member of the National Human Rights Commission. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Mr. Sunday Etim Daniel as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Mr. Sunday Etim Daniel is hereby confirmed as a member of the National Human Rights Commission. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Jidani Agbaidu Chukwuemeka as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Jidani Agbaidu Chukwuemeka is hereby confirmed as a member of the National Human Rights Commission. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Nella Andem Rabana SAN as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Nella Andem Rabana is hereby confirmed as a member of the National Human Rights Commission. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Azubike Emmanuel Nwan Kenta as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Azubike Emmanuel Nwan Kenta is hereby confirmed as a member of the National Human Rights Commission. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Jamila Isa Esquire as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Jamila Isa Esquire is hereby confirmed as a member of the National Human Rights Commission. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Idayat Omolara Hassan as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Idayat Omolara Hassan is hereby confirmed as a member of the National Human Rights Commission. Well, congratulations to all of them, and let me join our colleagues who commended the committee on this for performing this very important role. And the committee has raised some observations, and I want to reiterate here that the executive should take very serious note of the observations raised in the area of ensuring that there is compliance with the constitutional provisions for appointments like this. Thank you.
And now to close the program, we focus again on an area that we started some in the previous editions. You know that I spoke to the governor of Plateau State on what efforts are being made about the position of strike that is embarked upon by JUSUN. But that was not the only issue we discussed. We also talked about the constitutional amendment that is going on at the National Assembly. I decided to find out what the governor's position would be on any given item, and if they have any contribution. You know that they are the ones that sit on the hot seats at the various states, and so we want to know if they have input into the electoral reforms or indeed the constitutional amendment generally. So let's take a bit of my interview with the governor of Plateau State, Governor Simon Bakolalong, as we conclude that segment. The process of constitutional amendment is ongoing at the National Assembly. Is the Governor's Forum thinking of making inputs? Since you are on the seat in the state and you know where you would wish that the Constitution is amended to influence and project governance,
yes,
is the body of governors thinking of making inputs into the constitutional amendment?
Yes, we did. We did. Not at the level of Governors Forum, but I think we did at the Progressive Governors Forum. Yeah, we met under a revised committee. We made a presentation. I was a member of the committee. We made our input, and we made the presentation. Copies were sent to the president, and we sent it to the National Assembly. So you won't be surprised when you hear Mala Rufai now also talking now that we need state police, because we put in a lot of consideration. And we said, generally speaking, if this is what we are seeing, then we prefer state police, because we are heavily funding the police already, but we don't have authority to command the police. So let's have authority to command the police, since we are also heavily, if the federal government is seeing that it is too heavy to be funding the police, let them transfer the responsibilities to the state, but transfer the command too, to some states. Some people will argue different ways. And that was why part of it we suggested, let's start with the community policing. We're doing the example. By the time we get to that stage, even if it is step by step, we'll get to the level where in this country, whether we like it or not, we'll end up with state police. We'll end up with state police.
How about the electoral?
And also the true federation.
Okay.
Yeah, we mentioned that, true federation.
How about the Electoral Act? Are you interested in the
Yes, there were some aspects of the Electoral Act that I can't remember all we did in that report. But if you get a copy of our report, you will see it. We took a holistic approach. That is at the Progressive Governors Forum. But I can't remember that we did, whether we had a collective opinion on the issue of constitutional amendment at the Governors Forum. But I am aware of the one at the Progressive Governors Forum and also the one at the Northern Governors Forum.
Your Excellency, our courts are always full.
Yes.
What are your attempts to decongest the courts with litigations?
I think, first of all, for even convenience for business, for investment, you need to decongest the courts. And one of the things that we did in Plateau was to introduce the ADR. Today, in Plateau State, we've already established our ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution. So we're one of the states that are already doing it. This has gone a long way in reducing costs, reducing the stress on the judiciary, and also an encouragement to investors. Because it's very difficult for when an investor comes and then is involved in a litigation that will take him years without even investment, or when he invests, litigation, settling disputes or contractual obligations will take a very long time. But here on the Plateau, it doesn't. Again, we have our ADR. And also, in helping to add more hands to them, we, apart from the faculty, you know, we have the famous faculty at the University of Jos. We thought it's not enough. We've introduced another faculty at the Plateau State University. So the building is almost completed. We are hoping that in the next few months we'll be able to get our final approval for the takeoff of the Faculty of Law at the University of Jos.
Now that you have also put your hands in the Faculty of Law, what's your opinion about legal education in Nigeria? Is it up to date?
Well, legal education in Nigeria, I wouldn't say is up to date. I've attended several summits, and even at the bar conference, I've seen a lot of complaints about the quality, and but I also like to also thank the Council of Legal Education. They are also doing their best, because recently they've introduced a lot of things. Otherwise, before, what we used to know as part of the training are even expanded now, because we are in a computer age. And even judges now, I just recently gave them computers. In my state now, they don't need a library. They don't need this big library to say, all of them, everything is on their computers. I did everything just like Lagos did. So each of them has a computer reference. So anytime they are making their judgment, they just go through their computers, and they read all the law reports. So we need to move with the jet age, this computer age. And but in training, I'm sure is already done at the Nigerian Law School. So we need an expansion of it, and also to work with what is done within the international standard. Otherwise, but part of also the problem is the unemployment problem. You see lawyers being turned out here and there, but there are no jobs. A lot of competition, but there are no jobs. There are no jobs for them. So we need, as lawyers, to also find ways of creating opportunities and jobs for these lawyers. Otherwise, somebody will go and read law. You go to Nigerian, but you go to the law school, you will come out, and then he's looking for looking for another job.
Thank you for being part of the scale today. I'm sure that these items have gone a long way in illuminating your side of the justice sector in Nigeria. And there are so many other issues coming up, and you can be sure that the scale will not miss out on them as long as they help to further the cause of justice in Nigeria. Thank you once again, and we'll see you in the next edition.
You can follow us on